Hi, you look great today. I hope you are having a great day. I hope that you have nourished yourself. Hope you've done something for yourself that's just for you and for no one else. Hope you've had water. I hope you've gone on a light walk or jog. I hope you've listened to your body today. I'm just gonna shuffle some cards and see what comes up with the Without Modernity deck by decolonialfutures.net. Check this out. And maybe just have a conversation, or I'll talk to you. Hopefully you'll talk back to me. Let's see what's going on. It's funny, it's been really interesting in this time. I've just graduated school. Y'all don't mind if I check in, right? Hope that's okay with y'all. And it's been really interesting trying to figure out what I want to do, who I want to be, what does success mean, what does life mean, what does it mean to achieve stuff? Do I even want to do that? You know, and just sitting with that. Quick story before I get into this shuffle. I have been doing some just deep internal work on myself. You know, I'm just like finishing school, and now all of the things that I've put aside or I've kind of put on hold to get, to get this degree and to accomplish this goal. It's interesting because the things that you set aside for something else, if you haven't dealt with them, they're waiting for you. So as soon as you stop running and you take a look, they're waiting. And so, yeah, I've just been kind of trying to get my stuff together, and that process decided to start drinking more water and to listening to my body and just doing what I feel needs to be done in order for me to feel balance. So for me, happiness means balance. Like, am I doing what I need to do for my body? Am I doing what I need to do for my mind? What am I doing for like my emotional self? Just making sure that those things are in balance and feeling good about those things. So I decided to, we're going to dedicate some time to my body. So I was doing that and decided to go on a run, and I created this whole like workout regimen that I felt was really balanced and just where I am at this point in my life, thinking that I could just go and, just start something like gently. I usually go hard and just go like head in and be like, yeah, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna run, and I'm gonna save the world. I'm gonna do all these things. And so it was like, girl, calm down. Just do a little bit. And so I decided to go on a run. And listen, I was not 10 minutes into my run and I twisted my ankle. Like, legit twisted my ankle. And I'm just like, hold on. I've been preparing. I did this whole workout. I had planned meals. And like 10 minutes into this, I twisted my ankle. And I was like, ain't this some shit? So I ended up walking back home. So, the first day. This is the first day of the rest of my life, and I twisted my ankle. So that happened. So that's how I'm doing. But I'm just kind of chilling right now, just letting the ankle rest and what have you. And so I'm just trying to take it one day at a time, as I know you all are doing as well. So first card. A random invitation to face complicity in harm with integrity and without defensiveness. So yeah, a random invitation to face complicity in harm with integrity and without defensiveness. I don't know if y'all can see that. Hopefully you can. Yeah, this brings up for me how sometimes when you can get stuck in your own survival, that you don't see what's happening in front of you. There's this story where I was living in San Francisco and I was on the 22. 5 points to the person who can name that bus route. But I was on the 22 and it was really crowded and I don't even know where I was going, but it was just, you could not move. And so a group of kids came on and like were just loud, being kids, expressing themselves, and we kept going, and they're just doing them. And then we got to a stop where it was clear that like it was to a point where in order to get on the bus, everyone had to make decisions collectively. We had to collectively decide, like, let's try and make more space for the passengers as they come on. This has gotten to a point where now everyone has to start thinking about everyone else. And this woman, she was thinking about herself, and we as a group on the bus were only thinking about ourselves. And so she tried to force her way onto the bus to the point where she wasn't mindful of who she was running into, who she was stepping on. And one of the kids hit her, like struck her. And I remember kind of sitting there and being like, oh, okay, this thing just happened. Do I respond? Do I act? Do I not say anything? Kind of running through the list of questions or scenarios of like, what do I do? And then act from there. And I remember choosing not to deal, because it was like, it was hot. And these are all excuses. Like, it was hot. And then I was like, well, these kids, I don't know these kids. I don't know what these kids are capable of. Am I going to have to end up fighting a whole bunch of kids today? And the other thing that happened too was like, no one else did anything. And it's just, it's an interesting thing to just tell you that story and then, reflect back and kind of create some distance to give myself both compassion and then also awareness of like what I was going through during that time, and just realize that like we all do this. We all make choices where we are complicit and we don't act, and we allow things to happen that maybe in another life or another scenario, or if we had support or whatever the things may be, we would have acted in the way that we wanted to, but instead acted in a way that, preserved ourselves. So that is something that I think of when I have this random invitation to just realize where we are all coming from, different experiences and different walks of life and different mental awarenesses and capabilities, and to have compassion for those things. And, maybe one day if this scenario happens again, I'll act differently. Next question, or next card. In what ways could you be operating from deep-seated insecurities? In what ways could you be operating from deep-seated insecurities? For me, I think I have a deep insecurity of being seen, which, I'm on this video, I'm recording this thing. I was having this moment before I decided to do it, like, if I don't push through this, if I don't try this, then I won't move forward. I'll always be afraid of this feeling. Like, we are navigating a world with infinite feelings, and the more awareness and the more stamina and endurance one has when those feelings come up, then you can decide on how to move. And if I continue to let this insecurity of being seen and having doubts come in, I'll never move forward, and I'll never take those brave leaps to change, my life, or, to live the life that I dream of living. And so definitely when I operate from a place of not wanting to be seen, I don't take risks. I don't step up. I don't lean in. It's a very contracting feeling. It's like being in a ball, and, you don't want to know what is happening except for just head down, eyes closed. So next one. Ooh. What could help us not turn our backs to the violence that keeps the current systems in place and that underwrites our livelihoods? What could help us not turn our backs to the violence that keeps the current systems in place and that underwrites our livelihoods? This has been a question that has been on my mind and heart since all of this started. I think having conversations like this, I think getting us used to having hard conversations, and doing individual work to process the feelings and emotions and experiences that keep us in that contracted state. I think, again, developing the stamina to be able to address the hard stuff, the hard feelings, the hard questions, the hard situations. And the only way to do that is through conversation, is through sharing. It's like this, acknowledging insecurities, acknowledging limitations, acknowledging that there is no perfection anymore. There is no guru anymore. There's no leader anymore. Not in the ways that we're used to. And this is an opportunity for us to rewrite that and develop something new. And I think what could help is by having essential, brave, courageous conversations based in honesty, based in authenticity. Just getting that started and building up the stamina and being used to having those conversations, so that when hard stuff comes up, you already know what it feels like. You already know what your body's going to do. You already know the ways that you're going to try to make yourself not step in, lean in, and have conversations, So I think being able to develop that stamina would definitely help us in these times. One more. How can we face humanity with or without human versus inhuman dichotomy? One of the best experiences that I've ever had to date, I had the privilege to go on what's called a wilderness solo with my master's program that I just graduated from. And we spent 8 days and nights in the wilderness. And then 3 days and nights alone. So out of those 8 days, 3 of those days were spent alone. So we created our own shelters, and we brought into that particular space that we had chosen of water and food, and we spent 3 days and 3 nights alone. And one of the most transformational things happened, when it's you and it's nature. There's a recalibration that happens where then you stop relying on internets and like industrial creations, and it's just you and nature. And it gives you a new sense of perspective, one that also integrates the non-human, one that integrates a different way of being that's based more in nature and less on capitalism, less on consumption, and it's been transformational, and it's something that I feel like we all should be leaning into and having experiences where we are, even if it's just going to a park or sitting under a tree, like it doesn't have to be a whole experience. Like, that stuff is over. We have to use what we have. If it's you just being in your backyard, or even if it's you in your apartment getting some plants or looking on YouTube of natural spaces, doing what we can to let go of these habits of consumption that we've created and start to see nature as a living being too. So those are the questions and invitations that I have for today. I hope that this sparks conversation. I hope this opens up something that maybe has been hidden, or, maybe this facilitates a conversation that helps you to create something that can add to this conversation. So thank you, and I look forward to hearing more how this goes.